learners to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here with us today. We've got a fantastic roadmap ahead of us as we decode 6 incredibly complex, fast-moving current affairs topics. And we're going to do this by mapping them directly to the UPSC General Studies papers. Seriously, whether you're a seasoned aspirant or just, genuinely curious about the massive structural changes happening in Indian governance right now, this is exactly how you turn raw news into structured, syllabus-mapped understanding. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Our roadmap today covers 4 main stops. First up, we're hitting GS Paper 1 on demography. Then we move to GS Paper 2 for justice and privacy. Next is GS Paper 3 covering the economy. And finally, we're going to bridge Papers 2 and 3 to take a hard look at fiscal federalism.
All right, stop number 1, GS Paper I, focusing on demography and social issues.
Now, what's really interesting here is how a seemingly simple administrative choice carries just massive constitutional weight. So the Office of the Registrar General and Census Commissioner has actually introduced an open column for the self-declaration of caste in the upcoming Census 2027 trial run. Now, on one hand, this kind of granular data, it could literally be revolutionary for targeted welfare and social justice. But on the other hand, it sparks some deep analytical debates, like could this end up hardening caste identities or politicizing reservation matrices? Especially when you consider the Supreme Court has previously cautioned against using caste data to trigger creamy layer exclusions without a really solid empirical basis. So imagine you're sitting in an interview chair right now. This brings up a critical question I really want you to chew on. Should India enumerate caste in the census? And beyond just the logistics, what are the broader ethical implications for a state collecting this kind of data when our ultimate constitutional aspiration is, a casteless society? Well, to answer that, we have to look at this totally impartially and balance the views. Historically speaking, the Soccer Committee back in 2006 brilliantly demonstrated the immense value of data-driven inclusion. Basically, you need data to fix inequalities, right? But conversely, if we look all the way back to the Kaka-Kalilkar Commission in 1953, they warned about the very real risk of electoral gerrymandering. So the constitutional dialectic here is absolutely crucial. Data must be used for remedial policies, for sure, but never for political leverage. Okay, I want you to lock this concept into your memory right now. Just think of this phrase: open column equals open Pandora's box, data for justice or data for division. Keep that mnemonic stuck in your head as we evaluate these social justice policies moving forward.
All right, moving right along to Section 2, GS Paper 2, focusing squarely on justice and privacy in digital governance.
So let's map out these core facts. First up, the Integrated Criminal Justice System, or ICJS, is going fully digital next year. It's connecting police, courts, prisons, and labs, which aligns perfectly with the new Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha Sanhita of 2023. Second, the Supreme Court is actually currently hearing arguments on the right to be forgotten under Article 21. They're specifically looking at whether an acquitted person's past should remain visible in search engine results. Now, for your mains analysis, these 2 topics perfectly highlight the tension between digital efficiency and the digital divide, as well as the friction between an individual's privacy and the public's right to transparency. So think about it. Will digital courts actually reduce the staggering 4.5 crore pending cases we have? Or will they just, digitalize the delays? And on the privacy front, where exactly do you draw the line between a person's penological right to rehabilitation and the public's fundamental right to memory and access to court records? It's a tough one. So the crucial point here is finding that balance. For the ICJS, the efficiency gains are absolutely real, but listen, without massive capacity building for judicial staff and legal aid for the poor, digitization actually risks becoming exclusionary. We desperately need people-centric policing, exactly as the second arc emphasized. Now, for the right to be forgotten, a balanced approach relies on de-indexing from search engines, which is what the Sri Krishna Committee recommended, rather than just the outright deletion of historical judicial records. Let's punch in a couple of quick memory anchors for this one. Remember, ICJS equals I-Court Justice System. We're talking FIR to forensic to court to jail, all in one click. And for privacy, RTBF equals the right to be free from digital ghosts. Let's shift gears now. Section 3, GS Paper 3, where we're tackling the economy, indirect tax, and the RBI. Now, the data here reveals a rather glaring economic red flag. As GST completes its 9th year, the June 2026 collections showed import revenue growing at a massive 35%, while domestic transaction revenue only rose by 6.5%. This brilliantly illustrates a core economic challenge. India is increasingly importing goods that we really should be manufacturing domestically. And obviously, this severely undermines the whole rationale of the Make in India and PLI schemes.
So, bringing this back to our GS3 mains analysis, that import boom is at least partly tied to the inverted duty structure of GST, which the 15th Finance Commission explicitly flagged for rationalization. Meanwhile, the RBI is really shaking things up. They're evaluating durable polymer banknotes to replace cotton ones. Plus, they've temporarily lifted interest rate caps on FCNRB deposits to attract NRI inflows amidst foreign portfolio outflows. Oh, and they've also canceled registrations for 135 NBFCs to clean up shadow banking under their new scale-based regulation framework.
Again, let's put on our critical thinking hats. Has GST inadvertently morphed into one nation, one import tax? And on the monetary side of things, is India's currency system, especially in rural areas where cash is still absolutely king, genuinely ready for a massive transition to polymer notes? The solutions, as always, lie in the balance. As the economic survey suggests, to fix this import reliance, we might need to redeploy unused PLI outlays into deep tech manufacturing, think semiconductors and EV batteries. For currency modernization, the RBI absolutely must ensure the peaceful coexistence of polymer and traditional cash during the transition while upgrading all the processing machines. And for the NBFC cleanup, the RBI Financial Stability Report shows it's totally necessary, but regulators have to ensure it doesn't trigger a sudden credit contraction for our MSMEs. All right, here are your GS3 memory hooks. Jot these down. GST at 9 equals grew in size, tanked in structure. And for the RBI's new currency evaluation, polymer notes equals plastic money, tough to tear and tough to fake.
Okay, final stretch. Section 4, Fiscal Federalism, Bridging the Center versus States Debate across GS Papers 2 and 3.
300 rupees. I want you to blast this prelims fact into your mind right now. The center has just fixed a brand new minimum wage floor of 300 rupees per day under MGNRGA. This immediately bumps up the wages in 21 states and union territories that were previously paying below this rate.
But here is where the story gets deeply complex, and it brilliantly illustrates the friction in our federal system. While the normative allocation pattern was traditionally around 90-10 between the center and states, the current reality of this new mandate shifts the burden closer to 60-40 for expenditures beyond the center's allocation. Estimates suggest this single policy shift could create a near six-fold increase in state expenditure, ballooning from roughly 7,700 crore rupees all the way up to an estimated 51,000 crore rupees.
Now, when we map this directly to our main syllabus on center-state relations, we see a textbook example of an unfunded mandate. The center sets the wage floor, but the states are left holding the bag to pay the bill. Even though the 14th Finance Commission generously increased tax devolution to 42%, these centrally sponsored schemes just keep eating into the state's untied funds. The Second Administrative Reforms Commission famously criticized this exact proliferation of schemes, calling it fiscal centralism in disguise. Which leads us to a pretty profound interview-level question. Is the 300 MGNREGA wage a gift to rural workers, or is it actually a poisoned chalice for the states? How do you weigh essential wage justice against a state's fiscal sustainability? Especially when you remember that the 15th Finance Commission explicitly noted that states with weak fiscal health could face a literal debt spiral.
To stamp this fiscal dynamic into your memory, the center commanding while states pay, use this playful little memory hook. VBG RAM G. It stands for Very Big Gram and Rajya Aya, money gone. It perfectly encapsulates the tension of decentralized welfare without decentralized funding.
Wow, we have covered immense ground today, from demography and digital justice to indirect taxes and federal funding. So, with shifting federal burdens, massive digital privacy debates, and systemic gaps in our economy, how will you navigate and eventually shape this rapidly changing landscape of Indian governance? Keep these UPSC GS syllabus maps in mind. Keep questioning the data, and I'll see you in the next explainer.